Writing a musical is a large and often difficult endeavor, and I know that no matter where you are in your process, you have poured your heart and your soul into your writing. Every moment, note, lyric, word choice, rhyme, and rhythm has been carefully chosen to bring your stories and your characters to life. And you want to pull your audience into that story, to have them fall as deeply in love with your show as you have. But in order for that to happen, and for your audience to remain with you all the way to the finale, it is critical that you do not lose them along the way. We must avoid this at all costs.
So, how can you best try to keep your audience's attention and energy?
Here are 3 tips, plus a little bonus tip at the end, to keep them engaged and enraptured. The creators of South Park, who also wrote the Book of Mormon, have a lovely little exercise they do on every single thing that they write. And the purpose of this exercise is to make sure that their stories follow logically, even if the world that they're writing in is illogical and weird, also that they don't lose their audience at any point along the way. And this technique is called Therefore, But. When they're outlining and storyboarding, they take a step back and they look at every single beat in the story, and then they insert one of these 2 words in between each story beat. This happens, therefore this happens, therefore this happens, but then this thing happens, therefore this happens, and so on and so forth. And this is something that you can easily apply to your shows and your stories as well. I personally think that the easiest way to do this is while looking at an outline that has all of your story beats already listed out in order. But you can do this as you read through a draft as well. It just may take a little extra mental juggling. But the big word of caution here is that you never want to find yourselves inserting the words "and then" between 2 of your story beats. And then is a signal that one beat does not lead directly into the next, and that they actually may be unrelated. This can cause confusion in your audience and can actually cause them to possibly tune out. Therefore, good. But, good. And then, very bad. The next musical theater specific tip I have for you is to make sure that you are fully integrating all of your songs directly into your story. Notice I said fully, because all the songs are going to be integrated into the show, right? Because it is a musical after all. Right? You'd be surprised how often I work with writers who think that they've fully integrated their songs into their story, but have accidentally created a separation between their songs and their book. Oops. When you create this type of separation, then every time the show hits a point where a song begins, it feels like we're either coming to a screeching halt in the story, or that there's a major energetic shift that needs to take place in order for the audience to follow you into the song. This is an audience attention killer. The only time we ever want to stop all action to sing a song is either when we've earned a moment of rest for a spot like a comedy song or a charm song, or when we've earned a moment of pause with just a few characters. Otherwise, the audience will sit there wondering why there's even a song at all, and that is not a good sign. So, how do you fully integrate? Firstly, the song moments really do need to be born out of either the dialogue or the action that came directly beforehand. Often, this is more of something to clock on an emotional level than anything else. But asking yourself what work the scene is doing and what actions the characters are taking is a great place to start. If your characters went into a scene with a specific goal in mind, then the song should be somehow born out of that goal, whether the scene is moving us toward the goal or away from the goal. But if those characters went into a scene with a goal and the song has nothing to do with the goal whatsoever, that's gonna feel like a hard left turn to your audience in both energy and attention. The flow of scene to song, whether it's plot-driven or character-driven, should feel both natural and inevitable. Take a look through your script and find those places where your scene work seems to be doing something different than your song work, because that's a pretty good indication that you missed the mark on something. Also, if you've been enjoying this video so far, please give it a little like, and remember to stick around for that bonus tip as well. Thanks! I know I've harped on this a lot over the years, but my next tip is to take a look for where you are lacking in crystal clarity across your story. Not just any clarity. Crystal clarity. The moment an audience finds themselves confused in any way, shape, or form, they will begin to tune out. And who could blame them? I mean, I know that I hate feeling confused when I'm in a theater, so I can only imagine that that's true of most people. Clarity in storytelling, action, intention, and movement are the largest categories that we want to be looking at here. Storytelling should be pretty straightforward. Your story does need to make sense within its world and its own rules. Actions should follow one to the next, and using therefore but is a great way to check in on this. Intention is where a lot of writers drop the ball. It can be a really useful exercise to take each character one at a time and plot out their intentions all the way through the show, and then take a look and make sure that those intentions are coming through clearly in the scene work. If not, it honestly may take just a little bit of tweaking to make that come to the surface. And movement is really more about pacing than anything else, which is attached to the clarity of the emotional arc. I made a video about this recently, which I'll drop in the description below, as well as put at the end of this video. As a thank you for sticking around this far, here is your bonus tip, which comes directly from my moderators at the BMI Musical Theater Workshop. And I quote, "Spend your ballad dollars wisely." Musical theater writers are sensitive people and love to relish in the slow and the sad. We all do it, it's totally okay. However, too many ballads can take your audience right out of the story and into the land of checking their watches and thinking about what they're gonna eat after the show. Not ideal. A good rule of thumb is 2 to 3 ballads for your entire show. Yes, you heard that right. Are there exceptions? Of course, there's always exceptions. But on the whole, this is the number of ballads that will keep your show moving along at a clip and only slowing down when you've earned it from your audience. Now, of course, these are just a few tips on a very large and important subject. Therefore, if you want even more tips on how to keep your audience engaged and to avoid losing them, then you should watch this video next. Otherwise...
Thank you all for being here with me today, and I'll see you again soon. Cheers!